So we're gonna have to restart this. So basically, welcome to a Capital Hungry Friday self-development webinar on how to be productive. Over the last course of a couple of weeks, and it's not like I have a huge influence or following, but I've been getting a lot of messages from people on how to be productive and how to like continuously work towards your goals and so forth. And overall, I was really surprised by this because I've never seen myself as a very productive person. I've always seen myself as a procrastinator or very lazy when it comes to doing tasks that need to be done that I might not necessarily enjoy, right? So through this webinar, I'm just going to share with you some of my experience and growth and viewpoints as well as ideologies that help me stay productive day in and day out, on top of having that consistency to work towards my goals on different levels, right? So, number one, I have a lot of experience in my young age so far from working tons of different jobs in various industries, from the service industry and restaurants to retail stores, from lumber yards to manufacturing plants to chemical factories to warehouses and corporate offices to working for banks and working for a global operations command center to to even going off into doing my own thing with trading and day trading the financial markets, and of course starting the market research and analysis company Capital Hungry, right? So I've gained a lot of experience um, as well as appreciation for the overall society that we live in and the amount of opportunity, the amount of opportunity and freedom that we really have at our disposal and at our fingertips. So going through all this experience and working these various jobs and labor jobs and meeting people through all walks of life, people who are very prosperous and have optimistic views on life, to meeting people who are extremely pessimistic and have a pure negative view at life, and seeing their different ideologies and how they approach life. Through this is what molded and what helped me identify what I truly want through life, right? Because what I'm trying to get into here is you can't be productive and you can't work hard unless you have a long-term goal that you perfectly understand is going to take extreme amount of sacrifice to attain, but you are perfectly ready to make those sacrifices to work towards those long-term goals, right? And my personal goal is very, very simple, and it's a very simple ideology towards life. When you can understand the point I'm coming, when you can understand the perspective I'm looking at life through, which I'll talk about in a second, but my goal is to be great, right? It's not to be perfect. It's not to compare to anyone else, but through this short time we have on this earth and this snap of a finger we call a lifetime, I just want to live a fulfilling life across all levels of my life, whether that be physically, financially, mentally, or spiritually. And I just want to be great. I just want to spend every day I can working towards being great, because I know in the society we are in, if I work towards being great and having strong mental health and mental fortitude, as well as knowledge development and various skill sets and experience development, as well as if I work at being great towards developing a strong physical stature and being very confident in my strength, as well as my appearance and overall that aura you transmit to others of your confidence and willpower and truly your spirit. If I keep working towards being great from a financial standpoint, eventually all of this work is going to pay off for me and others around me. Because the way the society is molded, the majority of people in the masses do not strive to be great, but that's because that they have been preconditioned to follow this system set in place where their livelihood, their lifetime is essentially being farmed and sacrificed to benefit the livelihood and benefit the life of a small percentile of the ruling elite, right? That's really how it is when you really want to talk about it. So, when you understand herd mentality and all of your friends and all of your family are just consistently repeating the same toxic and negative behavior day in and day out. They are fueling themselves and treating their body like shit by consuming nonsense 24/7. They aren't doing any types of physical activity to challenge themselves or promote growth. They aren't spending their time learning any skill sets or learning about the world and how much knowledge we really have access to. They aren't spending their time stimulating their brain in a productive way. They are constantly chasing pleasures and short-term satisfactions, constantly being fed short-term dopamine hits. Majority of people are stressed out from working a job they hate, to pay bills that they don't want to pay, to live a life that they absolutely can't stand, right? So first you have to ask yourself, do you want to live that life, or would you want to strive for something better because you do not want to go down that destructive path of destroying yourself across levels? So first, you have to make a mature choice as an adult. As a teenager too, doesn't matter, but mainly as an adult, because really, in my opinion, to achieve greatness, it is going to take years of development, years of work. You are going to have certain things that can only come from going through periods of trial and error, and some lessons that are only solely learned through experience, right? That's why I have a strong respect for people who have been on the same path for 20 or 30 years and are reaping the rewards from it, because there's an endless amount of knowledge they can provide and value they can give back, right? But anyways, first of all, you have to have an extreme strong desire to go outside of this herd mentality and to focus your time and energy to developing yourself. Because the reason why I'm saying this is you can't even begin to think about being productive or actually acting and being productive on a daily basis if you absolutely feel like shit and you don't even have the energy to do it. How won't you have the energy to do things that are productive if you're spending all of your time degrading your mentality and degrading your physical health and biology? How could you ever have the energy or the time and effort to put towards anything else, right? So you can't even think of being productive if you're out of shape, if you're feeling all anxious and depressed because you spend all your time on social media. First, you have to clean the slate. You have to do a full detox, in my opinion. You have to do a full detox and remove all the nonsense, distractions, all the negativity, everything that you are spending time on, whether it is eating, whether it is watching, listening, any type of stimuli towards your body that you are putting time towards that isn't bringing you value, you have to learn to cut it out, because otherwise all you're doing is mindlessly consuming and feeding the pockets of somebody else and promoting their life to be better, right? So you have to get to a point in your life where you draw the line and you say, okay, enough is enough. And this may mean that you have to cut certain people off. This may mean that you have to cut things you thought you enjoyed so much. But if you really enjoyed these things so much, like spending all your time playing video games or being on social media or eating like shit or watching porn or doing whatever other mindless consumption we're just seeing rampant in this modern society, if you really enjoyed that, then ask yourself, why are you depressed? Why are you always feeling so anxious? Why do you feel overwhelmed and stressed doing the smallest of tasks? Why do you procrastinate so much? Why are you out of shape? Why is your physical health declining? Ask yourself these questions. So then you have to ask yourself and dissect, what I'm doing, is it really bringing true joy, or is it just a manipulative, artificial dopamine hit being fed to me through these different avenues, because the modern society doesn't want human beings anymore. It wants workers and consumers. That's all. Because if you're a worker and you're a consumer and you spend your whole life on that path, all you're going to do is make somebody else rich and make somebody else have tons of free time and live a great life and get to choose every single day what they do with their time, how they live their life, and have the best quality of life in terms of resources, network, access to quality of goods, and so forth, while you continue to work paycheck to paycheck to meet debt, to fucking not even being able to pay your full rent, to be eating like shit, to be feeling like shit, and still be doing all this mindless consumption, right? So it doesn't make sense. You have to hit a full fucking reset button on your life. And you have to start to cut out these, and I don't mean you have to make a full 180, but from a mental standpoint, you have to make a hard choice that you can put your full spirit and willpower into, because you know that when you start to make these changes to improve your mental health, to improve your physical health, it's only gonna benefit you. You're gonna be much stronger, much more knowledgeable from a mental standpoint, have more confidence in your own self, have more confidence in what you've learned and the experience you're developing and the trial and error you're going through. You're gonna have much more confidence in your appearance as you're looking good, feeling better, and your health is starting to increase. Your energy levels are going up, you're sleeping better, all of your vital systems are feeling better. This concoction of going on that path of self-development is what creates the foundation to actually be productive, right? Because otherwise, when people don't develop the foundation first and they try to be productive, they won't focus on fixing the core things, but then they'll try to do these little mundane tasks to be productive, and that ends up being so very short-lived until they get sucked back into the path of being a mindless consumer and just wasting their time every single day, right? Because, and also, that's number one. So number one, you have to fix the whole foundation. You have to you have to clean the slate. You have to hit the reset button. You have to build the foundation first and make sure that you have the right mentality and you have the right physical health to actually be consistently productive towards your goals. Now, why do I say that? Because the reality is, when you go on this path of self-development, I would personally say, depending on how disciplined you are, 70 to 80% of the tasks you are gonna do are not gonna be enjoyable. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say you're trying to eat better. For most people, going out and grocery shopping and actually picking healthy food to eat, potentially learning how to cook, going through that trial and error process, cooking food for themselves, trying out different recipes and so forth. Not everybody has a passion for that, but it is a vital skill set, in my opinion, as a human being, to know how to fuel yourself efficiently. That's like common sense, right? So that might not be enjoyable for people, but you have to go through that process. You have to sacrifice the convenience and the ease and the comfort and relaxation of just ordering out all the time and of doing X, Y, and Z to just quickly give yourself that satisfaction and feed a craving. You have to learn to cut that shit out, because at the end of the day, when you really think logically, you know if you just continue on that path, you're deteriorating yourself as a human being. We are animals. We are machines. We are meant to be working. Our bodies literally generate energy and heat. We generate watts. We are not meant to be stagnant. When you're stagnant, you rust. You break down. And when you're stagnant and when you're not doing anything and when you're feeding yourself like shit and when you're not doing anything to promote your physical activity or learning to build that foundation, right? What do you think the thoughts are going through your mind? You think you're having positive thoughts in your mind? You think you're sparking ideas on how to make the next great innovation of our lifetime in reality, or on how to better your family, or on how to better your friends around you? You think those are the ideas going off in your head? No! It's all just going to be consistent negative thoughts and thoughts that are self-destructive, because all your brain is doing is consistently feeding you those thoughts, and the only thing that stops those thoughts is going towards some short-term pleasure, whether it be a substance, drug, going back on social media and scrolling for hours, playing video games mindlessly for hours. Your brain is manipulating you and feeding you these destructive thoughts so you can go back to numbing yourself out. But the only way you can break out of that vicious cycle is by absolutely having a mental reset, right? Like, yes, there's a lot of various illnesses of the brain and mental illness that does need medical attention. But majority of this stuff, like being anxious or having anxiety or not being able to handle stress or not being able to focus or being depressed or being like a lot of this stuff can be fixed with your own hard work and effort, and you don't really need a pill, or you don't really need some next external substance to fix that. You have something called willpower and spirit to change your behavior, because I guarantee the majority of people who are going through some of those various negative mental illness, we can call it, whatever you want to call it, majority of the people who are in that bad mind state are probably abusing something in some way or form, or are not working towards what they really want to be fulfilled. And that is a cold, hard truth that you have to go and look in the mirror and say, hey, I need to cut this substance the fuck out. Hey, I need to stop eating like shit. I need to start appreciating and nurturing this precious and rare life and start actually doing things to benefit my health, benefit my mentality, and so forth, right? So, again, I don't mean to ramble on so much, but you all know I love to rant. The reason why is because now, when you build that foundation and you start to work towards your goals, right? Let's just say, like I was talking about the cooking and stuff, let's just say with the gym, you want to build a physique, right? Or you want to build a better body, you want to put some muscle on, you want to gain more strength, whatever it may be. You may really enjoy the working out and exercising aspect, or you may not even enjoy the exercising aspect. A lot of people don't. But these are various tasks that you have to put extreme effort into and do it with a smile on your face and learn to love, because doing that and learning to love the process is what's going to develop consistency towards actually achieving your goals. And let me explain this further, right? The best way after building the foundation and getting yourself in the right mental and physical shape to actually go and start working towards your goals, the best way to stay consistent towards working and achieving your goals is not by focusing on the goals. When you only focus on an end result, you will never be satisfied and you will never appreciate your journey and this experience of life that we are supposed to be involved in the moment. What I mean by that is, let's just say you're trading, and or you have a business, and your goal of your business is to make $10,000. And that's all you're focusing on, is this business to make $10,000. And you think that once the business or once your trading makes $10,000, you're going to feel some type of happiness. You're going to feel great. You're going to feel like you achieved something. Then eventually you get to that $10,000. Because of human nature and natural human behavior, now your mind is going to say, let's go to $50,000. You're not going to remember any of the journey up to 10,000. You're not going to appreciate that journey. And now your mind is going to be only focused on the next goal of let's get to $50,000. That's not an efficient way or a productive way, in my opinion, to work towards your goals. What you have to do is have an appreciation for being alive to begin with, and just simply waking up every day and being able to breathe, having a roof over your head, being able to get food when you want and feed yourself, being able to work a job, because you have to understand the harsh realities of this world, that more people are suffering compared to the people that are prosperous. right? There's tons of countries that are going through famine, that are war torn, that are dealing with poverty and so forth, that don't have these privileges, right? So you can when you can have that humility and appreciate just simply being alive and understanding that nothing else matters but this current present moment, then you can learn to put full 100% effort into the tasks that you may not enjoy, because you understand that being able to go to the gym even though you hate it is a privilege. It's not a right, it's a privilege. It's not a guarantee for every human that they can even have the opportunity to get themselves in shape. Majority of people on earth are focused on survival, are focused on making it to the next day. But you are so far, majority of us within this webinar are so far away from that survival, and we have so many freedoms and privileges that we absolutely neglect so much of it and do not appreciate everything that we have access to that makes our lives so easily, right? So when you can understand that dealing with these challenges, when you can understand that learning about trading, putting time and effort and and growing your knowledge and experience in the markets, that is a privilege. That is a opportunity in itself. Being able to go to the gym or perform these various physical activities to have a better health, that is a privilege. That is an opportunity within itself. Being able to feed yourself how you want and eat healthier, if you can make the choice to do so, that is a privilege. That is an opportunity in itself, right? So first you have to have that type of mindset, in my opinion, this humility and this appreciation that look at all this I have access to, that is at my fingertips, that I can use to improve my life, potentially improve the lives of people around me. And look at that compared to the harsh realities of other people's lives in the world where they're going through far much worse, right? When you have that humility, and you also can learn to learn to live in the moment and put maximum effort into the present time, because you have to understand the past doesn't matter, and focusing on the past is irrelevant. It's gone and cannot be changed. The future is yet to come. Worrying about the future is irrelevant because it's yet to come. The future can potentially be dictated if you are doing the right things in the present, but all of your attention, all of your effort should be in the present, right? So let's summarize. First, you have to make the decision to go against the herd mentality and to go against the societal norms and to go on this path of self-development simply for the reason that you want to live a fulfilling life. And towards the end, by the time you're going to die, which is inevitable for all of us in this very short time we have on this earth, you don't want to have any regrets. You want to know that the things you tried and put your best effort into. You kept yourself in shape. You tried to support the people around you. You tried to gain as much knowledge as possible about this elusive and mysterious world in societies, psychology, economics, nature, science, whatever it may be. The world's massive. You go learn whatever you want, right? You know, at the end of the day, you tried all of that and you put your full effort into it, right? So you have to make that choice. Number two, you have to hit the reset button, you have to clean the slate, and you have to develop that foundation that will allow you to have the right physical energy and physical health, as well as mentality and mental environment to actually pursue your goals. That means getting in the right physical shape, developing your mentality and mental fortitude, and I forgot to talk about this. The way to develop your mentality and mental fortitude is by losing the victim mentality and taking your life into your own hands and taking on more responsibility and more accountability and dealing with that responsibility and accountability with a smile on your face, because that's what's going to develop discipline. That's what's going to develop your character. And also, I already gave the other point of spending your time, instead of mindlessly consuming media, food, and all this other bullshit. Spend your time studying and growing your mind and challenging it, putting your just like your muscle cannot grow unless it's broken down and put through stress and tension, then properly fueled and rested. Your mind will not grow unless you put it through healthy stress and tension and go through trials and errors and go through the challenges and hurdles of life, of learning a new skill set or going into business or whatever it may be. You have to put your mind through this. That's how it grows. That's how it gets stronger. It's the same thing with your body. It's the same thing with your mind, right? So number one is making the choice. Number two is hitting the reset button and developing the foundation. Number three is having that humility and appreciation for all this opportunity at your fingertips that majority of people in the world do not have access to. You are so far away from survival with this roof over your head, clothes on your back, food in your mouth, water to drink, opportunities at your fingertips to learn whatever you want and spend your time how you wish, but instead you let decisions be made for you by the unconscious movement of your brain just constantly chasing you towards dopamine hits and short-term satisfaction because that's what you have been programmed to do, right? So number three is having that appreciation. When you have that appreciation, you want to work harder towards nurturing and taking care of your life because you have been given the circumstance to do so. So don't be an ungrateful piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, come on, life is short. Life is precious. Life is rare. And you're complaining about Mickey Mouse bullshit about and being lazy and doing nonsense. Like, come on, wake the fuck up. You know what I mean? But anyways, number four, learning to live in the moment because spending time and effort worrying about the past and your regrets of the past is absolutely useless and valueless. And worrying about a future that is yet to come is absolutely useless and valueless, right? So you have to put maximum time and attention into the present moment. Now, this may seem confusing for people. They're like, what do you mean? I'm living in the present. I'm here every day. Like, I'm doing my stuff. Think about how many hours a day go by that you've mindlessly wasted scrolling on your phone or on Netflix or on video games and you don't even realize. It's like your brain is running on autopilot. Or think about how many tasks are so repetitive that you do throughout your day that you're not even really involved anymore. It feels like everything is a daze. Everything is just phasing by. One day is the same as the next day, right? That means you're not living in the present moment. That means you're not actively involved in your decision-making process. That means you're running on autopilot and nothing but emotional impulses. You're not living in the moment. Living in the moment is being active in your decision-making process. Saying, what am I doing right now? I'm drinking water to hydrate myself, to feel better, to have more energy. After this, I'm going to eat a meal. I want to make sure the meal is healthy. After that, while I watch the meal, maybe I should consume some content that's more productive. I want to watch this documentary on central banks. Every single minute, you're thinking about what you're doing instead of letting your mind mindlessly wander and you just pull out your phone and start scrolling. And an hour goes by and you go, what the fuck? Or your mind just goes to pick up the controller or pull your dick out and start jerking it or whatever it may be, that simple pleasure to go gamble or to go towards a substance. Your mind just wanders towards that and you don't even realize, right? So when that happens, you're not living in the moment. You're not active in your decision-making process. You have to be active in what's going on every day. And when you do that, everything compiles together. From making the choice to be great and be better and sticking towards it, to starting to develop that foundation and resetting yourself, to having that humility and appreciation for life, to being active in the moment and making decisions for yourself, it all makes a beautiful concoction that propels you towards self-development, right? And then being productive is easy. You have your goals in mind. You've been developing the foundation. You're appreciating every single day and just simply being alive and everything you have access to. And then working towards your goals every day and being productive is easy. Okay? So now, Those are the steps that lead into productivity. Now let's actually, I know I've been ranting for a long time. Now let's actually talk about productivity itself. People confuse productivity with this whole work grind hustle culture of, yo, work 24/7, no sleep gang. All we're doing is trying to get this money. All we're doing is hustling. That is absolutely incorrect. That is absolutely false. And that type of mindset will actually lead to a negative impact on your productivity. Okay? We are human beings. Just like machines need to be recharged, need to be fueled, need to be properly maintained and taken care of to be efficiently working, we are no different. If you think productivity is spending all hours of your day working towards your goals, you're most likely going to end up burning yourself out and becoming counterproductive and actually having more, going back to being more like having self-destructive thoughts and so forth, right? Productivity is about having balance. Okay? So, a great example of this for me in terms of my personal experience is people think that I'm working hard all day, all day long. That's not true. Okay? That's not true at all. And I'm a human being. I can be giving you guys all this stuff, but I myself personally get caught where I'm supposed to be doing a task and I'm fucking staring at the wall for 30 minutes. And 30 minutes goes by and I'm like, fuck, what the fuck? It was just in my thoughts about nonsense. Or I'm on the toilet scrolling, 30 minutes goes by, my legs are asleep. You know what I mean? So it's perfectly normal, especially in the society we are in, to fall for these impulses and to fall into these cycles. But the more you train your mind and the more you go through the process I said, the better you become at catching yourself and putting yourself back on track and giving yourself the slap on the head. So don't feel bad when you make mistakes or you catch yourself slipping. Understand that's perfectly normal and don't beat yourself up over it, right? But the point I was trying to get to is, in my experience, I personally like to do all of my tasks. So now just getting into a bit of detail about more of the detail of my productivity and so forth, right? So for me, my main effort, time, and attention goes towards my body, my mind, trading, and the skill set regarding trading in the financial markets, Capital Hungry, the market research company, and my relationship and shit as well, right? Like, want to have a family one day. I didn't mean to like put that last if Chris is watching, but you get what I'm saying. Man's on his grind, okay? I like to personally have a physical journal and make a checklist. Some people don't like this. Some people think it's too straightforward. I like to note out things to do, and it also helps you feel more accomplished when you're checking things off, right? So I have a list of everything related to working towards my goals of developing a better body and better health. So that includes everything from grocery shopping, meal prepping, your shopping list and what you have to buy, your workouts, what you're working out, your workout split, and so forth. When you're eating throughout the day, how much water you're drinking. I make a list for all of that stuff, right? And then I have a list for Capital Hungry Business, which is like, oh, I have to do a morning scalping session webinar, a market update, answer Capital Hungry messages and emails, do some social media advertising, and whatever it may be else, chart work, whatever it may be. Then I have my checklist for trading, which that's more specific, where it's like, okay, I'm looking for an intraday style trade based on this analysis for gold. I'm going to be patiently waiting for this setup and so forth. And that's like I'll have my list for like trade confirms I'm looking for, mental reminders and so forth, right? Then I'll have a list for other overall mental stimulus and development. Like, I want to spend X amount of hours a day reading. I personally do not like to read, but I've been forcing myself to read because I want to better myself. You know what I mean? It's a lot better to spend my time reading and learning about history, economics, science, how the world really works in human psychology. It's better to do that than scrolling Instagram, right? So then I'll have that list. I want to spend time reading, doing XYZ that's outside of everything else that still promotes that still promotes my livelihood. For example, on that external list, it's like I wanted to start reading more, breathing exercises, and even starting yoga and stretching and stuff like that, right? So that has a list for itself. So do that, right? And obviously, a lot of people are not in the same situation I am now, where I'm no longer working a 9 to 5. I'm full-time trading, running the capital hungry business, and have other avenues of income as well, right? That I'm also trying to further develop. But even when I was working the 9 to 5 at Royal Bank in Toronto, when I was doing the tech job, you have to understand, I was doing 2 week rotations, 12-hour shifts. For 2 weeks, I was on days working 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., doing back end financial tech and supporting North American systems. Then I was on nights, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., supporting European systems and Asia Pac. You know what I mean? But so my whole sleeping schedule, working out schedule, and everything was flipping every 2 weeks. It was fucking horrible. But I still had this list. I would still plan out my day because at the end of the day, I felt accomplished. I felt like I'm still putting in that work towards my goals. And some of the items on your list you're gonna enjoy. Some of the items you're very passionate about. Some of the items you're absolutely gonna hate. But going through that process of creating a list can help you be very productive. Now, also, this isn't really like a reward system, but when you have to inevitably rest and take a break, it is best to do it after you've accomplished a number of things on this list. Because when you do go to take this break and rest, well, and during your rest time, go ahead and watch that movie. Go play some video games for a couple of hours. Go fucking jerk your dick, man. Go get a rub and tug. For all I give a shit, go give yourself that little bit of pleasure because we are human beings. We are here to experience life. We're not just here to work and hustle all day, all night, like I'm saying. You know what I mean? So go do that. But it has to be a balance. 80% of your day has to be productive and 20% has to be that little bit of rest and so forth. But what I like to do is I like to wake up earlier and go through the majority of my tasks, like drinking a decent amount of water, eating a pretty decent healthy breakfast. Well, it depends. When I eat depends on my gym stuff. Some weeks I'm fasting in the morning and not eating anything. And some weeks I'll maybe have some protein oatmeal. But going through that checklist, making sure I have my morning water, do some stretches, eat some oatmeal, do my webinars and so forth and trading, take any trades that I need to take or close any positions that I may have had set up from the previous night and so forth. Go to the gym, meal prep and so forth after, eat. I go through that checklist and then after, when it's time to relax, I feel great. You know what I mean? I feel great. Because there's plenty of hours in the day in reality if you actually learn to use your time efficiently. And you're only going to be able to use your time efficiently if you go through that process I just laid out. You know what I mean? So yeah. Like right now, today, if you go check out my Snapchat, it's Friday. I've gone through all my work. I've done all that. Probably an hour from now, after I just finished meal prepping and just got some vegetables steaming and shit, after I eat a meal, I'm going to do fuck all for the rest of the day. If I want, maybe I'll go read some of that book. I'm reading Carl Jung's Red Book right now on just overall human psychology. Pretty great read so far, you know what I mean? I'm a big Nietzsche fan as well. But like I don't have, if I want to, I can. But I already know I've put in a consistent amount of work towards my goals on all aspects and avenues that it's not like you're rewarding yourself. It's just inevitable you have to rest. You don't have any regret with this rest. You don't feel like a piece of shit. You don't feel like you're wasting your time. You feel like you earned it. You can appreciate it. And you can just do whatever you want that helps you enjoy life and experience life a bit more. You know what I mean? Right? So this can also be tied in with a lot of the other self-development live videos as well, because a lot of these concepts go hand in hand, right? So you have to really, like I said, dissect productivity from that psychological standpoint, and you can't be productive unless you don't fix those core issues and core problems, right? Then after that, you can start building off that base, building off the foundation. And something else I forgot to include, momentum is a crazy thing. Once you start to get out of that vicious cycle of consumerism and that constant repetitive path of only destroying your life, which the momentum applies in the same fashion for that. It's so easy to get lost in that cycle and years go by and you've just wasted so much time and deteriorated your physical health and wasted your finances away and still living paycheck to paycheck and making barely shit and not happy with yourself, right? It's very easy to get lost in that trance. But the same concept of momentum can also be a benefit, because once you get the wheels rolling, once you're working out, once you're feeling better about your body, you're feeling stronger, you're fueling yourself better because you want to, and you're eating healthier. You're starting to grow your mind by enveloping yourself in all this various knowledge the world has to offer at your fingertips. You're doing more positive tasks towards yourself. Once you start to get the wheels rolling, the momentum is crazy. You know what I mean? And it's going to be that same thing where it just becomes your life now. You don't know anything else besides this path. And that's when it becomes, I don't want to say it becomes easier, but like that is when it becomes more enjoyable too. You know what I mean? Right? Okay, so if anybody has any questions, let me know now. Otherwise, I've been rambling for like 40 minutes. Yeah, don't forget to check out all the other self-development videos. I've done webinars on death. I've done webinars on everything. Motivation, discipline, everything. I went to college for business, general business. I also went to trade school for electrical. I've also done a bunch of certifications for developing and stuff. Like I've done a lot of stuff in my short year so far. So it's helped me build a lot of experience. But that's a part of life. You have to go through all that stuff. All right, everybody. If nobody has any questions about this webinar topic, people got low attention span, no focus. It seems everybody's questions are about trading. Go to this YouTube page that you're watching right now, and you're going to see hundreds and hundreds of webinars that'll teach you everything. All right? I got to go finish meal prepping. I'll see all of you later. Make sure you join all the free Telegram, all that shit, you know what I mean? Then you can see what I do in my life, because people love to watch for some reason. All right, take care.